Oops, look at that. You caught me. I'm sitting here watching a video of ice turning into liquid water at the molecular level. How embarrassing. I thought this was actually pretty cool and I wanted to share it with you guys. Look at this. Look how beautiful those six-sided little geometrical water molecules are. And look at them turning into liquid water. Whee! Pretty cool. All right, enough of that. We can have it. Let's get rid of it. Let's bring it back. Let's get rid of it. What are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about cells. Cells are the reason why I am here talking to you today. Not because that's the topic, but because when I learned about cells, when I learned about these crazy little whatevers these are, I'm not even sure what these things are. Sometimes. Are they chemistry? Are they alive? What is this? What is that? When I learned about these things in high school, I was like, okay, I don't want to be an engineer anymore. I want to be a biologist. And so I could talk about these things for an entire semester, and I would love to teach a cell biology class, but they won't let me. I can't do it. No one cares about it enough in the nursing field or whatever. But we get to talk about it today. And it's pretty nifty. This is what you're made out of. So we're going to start off by talking about how we make a cell. Why is this flashing? It's annoying. Then I got a little presentation I want to give you on how cells are mechanical, just to kind of like change your mind on how you view cells. Then we'll get into prokaryotes, what the heck that means. It's like bacteria. And then how we transition into eukaryotes, whatever the heck that means. That's your cells. And then we'll go through the different kind of parts of the cell and what they do. All right, so building a cell. Well, if we look at the course here, what's some stuff that we've covered? Oh, organic chemistry and chemistry, and just the intro stuff. And if we go all the way back here, whoa, zoom way in. We got atoms, molecules, and then we're at the cellular level. All right, and what were the 4 organic molecules that we went over? Sugar, lipids, protein, and nucleic acids. I mean, that's what a cell is made out of. So let's just draw out a little basic cell here. We'll make the plasma membrane, I don't know, we'll make it this purpley color, I guess. Sounds good to me. It's a good looking little cell, kind of looks like a potato. Not too shabby. All right. Well, this cell membrane is made out of lipids. It's made out of a very special kind of lipids. You might remember it's made out of phospholipids. Lipids, which have a amphipathic lifestyle. They like water and they dislike water. Special kind of lipid called a phospholipid. They separate the inside of the cell from the outside world. Okay, and then we got another little lipid layer inside that makes up the nucleus. This is also made out of lipids. All right, and these things spontaneously form. I got a little video I want to show you on that. So if you put lipids, phospholipids into water, they will just essentially make a cell. And soap is like a lipid, very similar. Has similar properties, slightly different tails, and it makes bubbles, right? Spontaneously. So in the same way that soap makes bubbles, phospholipids make little cells, just based on their chemistry. It's pretty cool. Okay, now what's inside of this inner membrane? This lipid here makes up the nucleus. That's our nucleus there. And what's inside of our nucleus? That's where we store this little guy. Right? Our double helix jazz stuff. Our little information storage molecule. This is our nucleic acids. Makes up DNA. All right, we've already checked off lipids and nucleic acids. All right. Then floating around, we got, we'll make them like this. Boom, boom. All different kinds of shapes and sizes, but we'll just draw a bunch of little dots. Maybe up here we've got like a more globby kind of looking dude. Like so. These things are protein. And these, if you remember, actually, let's go back to this. This guy here, our DNA, stores information. It's our information storage system. Lipids, phospholipids on the outside of the membrane, label it as phospholipids. These keep the inside, they act as a barrier. Lipids also act as an energy source, but here they're acting as a barrier, stores information. These proteins, these do all kinds of jobs. Little machines. They're like little machines inside of cells. That's what protein is. It's a tiny little machine. Get rid of that guy. All right. And what do we got left? We got carbohydrates. Well, carbohydrates, I'm sure you remember. We could store them as, for example, like glycogen. Carbohydrate can be an energy source. They could also be structural. This is not a plant, but they could make up structural things in the cell wall. We can also attach our carbohydrates to our proteins, for example, like this. And these are important for our immune system. For recognizing self. They help us signal. Carbohydrates. These are functioning as signaling molecules. It can also be structural, so on and so forth. All right, so we went off through all four of our molecules. We went through lipids, protein, nucleic acids, carbohydrates. Those are our macromolecules, right? Then all in here, if we zoom way all up in here, this entire cell. Let's not forget. It's also full of water. Right, so it's made out of atoms, small molecules, as well as our macromolecules. All right, pretty crazy stuff. It's actually not that complicated in theory to make a cell. I want to show this little video on phospholipids that I really like.
Hello.
I think this audio is playing.
Pull this over here. Phospholipids in water. This will help us understand the structure of cell membrane.
It should be playing.
Let's get started. First, let's quickly see the structure of phospholipid molecule. As per the name, it is made up of a phosphate group and fatty acid side chains. The phosphate end is charged or polar, so it's hydrophilic, or in simple words, it wants to stay with water. And fatty acid chain has no charge, so it is hydrophobic, or in simple words, it wants to stay away from the water. This property of phospholipid decides how it interacts with water. So let's sprinkle some phospholipids into the water. Because of the properties that we just discussed, these molecules come on the surface of the water. Here, their phosphate ends stay inside the water because it's hydrophilic. The fatty acid, on the other hand, projects into the air. This way, they stay away from the water. Adding more molecules will result in the same thing till the entire surface is occupied. At this point, there is no space available on the surface. Now if we add more molecules, they have to stay in the bulk of water. The phosphate group has no problem with this, but the fatty acid chain cannot accept this. It doesn't want to stay in contact with water. So all the molecules do teamwork. They make a sphere in which fatty acids of all the molecules gather at the center. Here each fatty acid is surrounded by other fatty acids. There is no water nearby. This solves their problem. Phosphate ends of all the molecules make the surface of the sphere. Here they come in contact with water, but they are already happy with that. This formation is called micelle. Okay, moving further. Let's add even more molecules. At high concentration, they make a bilayer like a sandwich. Though the formation is different, the purpose is the same. Here also fatty acid chains meet at the center to stay away from the water. And phosphate ends form the surface on both the sides. They prevent fatty acids from coming in contact with water. We are studying all this because the cell membrane is made by this exact interaction between phospholipid and water. Only thing is, this bilayer is a complete sphere. At outer and inner surfaces of this sphere are phosphate groups, and fatty acid chains gather in the middle. In a nutshell, biological membrane is just a chemistry between phospholipid and water. And not only wall of the cell, but wall of intracellular organelles are also made by the same phospholipid bilayer. Taking a larger view can confuse us, but phospholipids are not confused. They want only one thing wherever they are: keep the fatty acid chains away from the water. And in doing so, they form very useful walls of cells and organelles. As a summary, I will repeat that line. Biological membrane is just a chemistry between phospholipid and water. That's it for this video.
That's it, yo.
If you feel new,
Sorry, I accidentally paused it. That's it, yo. Phospholipids are not confused. You take phospholipids and you put them in water. You put enough of them in water. They will form a cell. They will form a giant sphere. Okay? So you just take phospholipids. If you add enough phospholipids to water, they will form a sphere. A membrane. And this is based entirely on the chemistry of the phospholipid interacting with water. So not only is water a really special molecule, but then phospholipids are this really special molecule. They essentially make a nascent beginning cell on their own just by being in water. Okay? So now we got a phospholipid sphere just like this going on. So now really all we need to be able to make life is to have that thing be different on the inside than it is on the outside. So all we need is a little molecule, a nucleic acid, let's say. Now there's some nucleic acids in here. They somehow got caught up in this. And this is an RNA, let's say. This is an RNA. And RNAs can actually fold up on themselves just like proteins. So they can be kind of double-stranded right there, double-stranded right there, but then let's say it's single-stranded out here. And this RNA, let's say, likes to make copies of itself. Boom. Now you're going to have this RNA molecule living in here that likes to make copies of itself. Sorry, it's pretty trash looking. Let me make it a little smaller too. Boom. Now we got a bunch of copies of itself. Boom. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's pretty crazy. Now let's say maybe some of this pinches off. Maybe we got some of these over here, and maybe this cell gets kind of pinched off like this. So this starts to come in like that. And it buds off. And now you've got this other little cell growing like so. And now these RNA molecules start making copies inside of this guy. Let me get rid of that. You see what I'm going for here. In order to make a cell, chemistry kind of starts it all off. All we need is this membrane to form, and then the insides just kind of have to encapsulate a molecule that likes to copy itself. And then from there, you can get continual evolution until you get to the complexity of cells that we have now. It's kind of a crazy idea. So this could pinch off to reproduce. And now you've got reproduction, right? You got reproduction going. This kind of theory that hypothesis that RNA was the first molecule that copied itself and started life is called the RNA world hypothesis. And then eventually that RNA would then store its information in DNA because it's a little more stable. And then we'd start to make proteins from this RNA. And then you've got a full cell. This would be like these would be like proto cells. I don't have much time to go into that evolution and all that stuff. But this is one hypothesis about the origin of life. This is one hypothesis. The origin of life on Earth. Pretty nifty. Another one would be panspermia, but we don't have time to get into that. Okay, let's end that one there. That's how you build a cell. Pretty nifty stuff. I recommend looking into this for yourself if you're interested and fascinated by it. But with small little baby steps and then billions of years, you could have a 37 trillion celled human, teaching other 37 trillion celled humans about how they did it back in the day. You know, back when we was OGs, man, we was living in an RNA world, son. All right, then. I'll see you in the next one.